I grew up with a father who couldn't show up emotionally, and it taught me how to survive instead of how to feel. But here's how I unlearned that. I think most people have like a bad representation of like people who don't have their parents in their lives. And I don't want people to feel like I'm gonna be on here just bashing my dad. Because at the end of the day, like he did what he knew how to do, and emotionally and physically he wasn't there, but he also didn't have a dad. So it is what it is. I think that if my father had a chance to do it differently, he would do it differently. I don't think he would do it the same way. For a long time, I just thought I was a person that was like strong, independent, and unbothered. But in reality, I was just numb. I wasn't being strong by nature. I was being strong because I had to be. Survival mode just meant always being okay, never asking for help, and also feeling uncomfortable being vulnerable. It was also like a feeling that I always had that love had to be earned and it was never just given. I feel like back then as a child, I feel like you get like that comfort and that reassurance and that protection from your father, and also that feeling of being seen. Like moms have their sons, daughters have their fathers. So then when you don't kind of have that dad in your life, there's just definitely an imbalance. When your first experience of love is emotionally unavailable, you grow up thinking closeness is something that you have to work for, but it's not. I feel like when I was a child, like I used to just blame myself for why my dad wasn't around. Like my mom, I always had the mom that like never down talked my dad, even though he wasn't present. I would always, I would call him sometimes and ask him like, I want to come over, or like, why haven't I seen you? Why haven't I picked up? And it was just always an excuse. And like my mom never, honestly, I feel like my mom got the brunt of the negativity because I always felt like maybe my mom was keeping me from my dad, when in reality me and my dad lived in the same zip code. Like if he wanted to come and see me, he would have. And I never actually talk about my experience with my dad. I never, ever, ever talk about it. It's like one of those things that is kind of locked away in a box because it is very painful for me. Like it's nothing painful than having a parent that's on this earth, right? Like that's not locked up, not dead, and like lives down the street from you, and it's like has no idea where you lay your head at night, has no idea what you love to do, have no idea what your teachers' names are, have no idea what your interests are, anything like that. So it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that I had to grow up, with that piece of me missing. I feel like the little girl in me also like taught herself to be like low maintenance. I thought it was just always better to just not ask for things because like if you ask for things then people might not want to be around you. And it's just like honestly not having a dad has really shaped like the way that I interact with people. In my adult life, I've always chosen emotionally unavailable men, emotionally unavailable friends, um, being the fixer in every situation, feeling like I have to help everybody, feeling like I have to fix everybody's problems, just, things like that. Feeling safer being alone, being super hyper independent, just feeling like I have to prove myself always to the world that I'm okay, even when I'm not. And it's sad, like now that I think about all the things that I've had to do, like having low self-esteem, having just tolerating things that I shouldn't have tolerated because I felt like if I gave more, if I did more, then like I would get that love. And honestly, like that love never came, like in friendships and relationships with men. And it's just like, it's sad. And I feel sad for myself. Um, I feel for myself because there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of grief there and I didn't realize that there was so much built up in me, like so much resentment, so much just everything. I think it also hurts too because it's like deep down I still love him, but I have to be okay with the fact that mm, sorry, my tears are about to come. I love him, but I have to be okay with the fact that he may never show up. And that's something that's hard. When you're a kid, like it's like you don't really think about like your dad not being around. You don't really feel time. Like you don't really realize like, oh, it's been a month without seeing my dad, or it's been 3 years without seeing my dad, or you know what I'm saying? Like you don't really feel that time. But like now that I get older, now that I'm older, like I'm starting to think about starting a family of my own, and just the thought about like my kids not knowing who my dad is, that hurts. Or like mm, or like my dad walking me down the aisle when I get married. It's so crazy. One time I was meeting my ex-boyfriend's parents for the first time, his father. And I remember his dad was like, make sure you take good care of my son, right? Mind you, his son is treating me like shit the whole time. Like, and it's like, obviously I'm taking care of your son. And I remember driving in the car with my ex-boyfriend, and I like had tears coming down my eyes, and I didn't know why I had tears coming. Well, I did know why I had tears coming down my eyes. I had tears coming down my eyes because it was the first time I met like a boyfriend's parents, like in that capacity. And it was sweet that his dad said to make sure I take care of his son. And it's just like, I knew that I would never have that, like have a father that can be introduced to one of my boyfriends and like, have him say like, hey, like make sure you take good care of my daughter, or just like even getting his opinion on a boyfriend or something like that. Like it's just, I don't know. It's like as I get older, it's like it gets harder, like coping with that or like dealing with that. But it's okay. Like it's okay to grieve the father that I needed, but I didn't have. And instead of harboring that grief and that anger, I turned it into empathy. And it's like I feel bad for my dad because you didn't get to experience me, like you didn't get to be a part of all the things that I was a part of. Like you really missed out. So if you're ever watching this, just know like you really missed out. Ooh, I said I would never cry on social media. I always thought crying on social media looked crazy. But man, that's why I wanted to do this episode on this topic, because I feel like I just feel like so many people are going through what I'm going through, that, you know, I just want people to know, I just want little girls to know, little boys to know that like that doesn't have to define you. Like your parents not being around doesn't have to be define you. Like how your parents treat you doesn't have to define you. Like you can grow up and be a good person, but you have to choose to be. And it's not an excuse to treat people like crap because you didn't or you lacked some in some areas, or you lacked a parent, or your parent says mean things to you or does mean things to you. Like it doesn't have to define you as a person. And I'm happy with the person that I turned out to be, because I feel like I'm a pretty good person. I hope that I'm a pretty good person. So the unlearning part, right? Monet, how are you able to get to this point of, just being able to like forgive your dad for not being around? And honestly, it started with therapy. I've had therapy like multiple different times in my life for long periods of time, and being able to like have somebody validate the fact that what you went through wasn't normal and it was hurtful really helped me at least. I journal, I pray. I feel like also like turning to God helps, because at the end of the day, I might not have, or you might not have an earthly father, but you always have a heavenly father. And I feel like God has always protected me and made sure that, you know, I've never been like down and out. Like I've been down before, but I've always been able to like redeem myself, and I've always been able to turn lemons into lemonade, and I've always been able to make every situation work out for me. And I feel like that's God. And also my mom too. I feel like just my mom also not having growing up with a father. I feel like my mom has been I'm really grateful that my mom never said anything bad about my dad, and that I was able to like learn and see it for myself, you know? So yeah, and it's okay to cry. Like there's some nights where it's like it really affects me that my dad isn't around. Like I feel like Father's Day is like the worst day of the year, but it's okay, and it's gonna be okay, and it's been okay. I have to just teach my nervous system that I'm safe and I'm okay. Like, and with or without him, I'm gonna be okay, and that's a good thing. And not not many people not many people can say that, you know? Not many people have triumphed what I've triumphed and turned out to be as great of a person as I am. And that's not on even no cocky stuff. That's just me being real. All right, now I'm done talking about the past Monet. Now the present Monet. She's soft. She's open. She's not numb anymore. She knows how to love hard and receive love. She knows how to ask for what she needs in relationships. She's she's just no longer that little girl waiting for her dad to show up. Like I'm not that girl anymore. If he wants to show up and get help, you know, I'm open to it, but I'm not going to allow him to come back into my life and like do the same things that he's done for the past, I'm about to be 30, for the past 30 years. Like I'm not allowing that. My faith has been tested because I always be asking God, like, why did you not give me a dad? Like out of everybody else. And I still haven't got the answer, but the fact that I love I love the girl that is looking back at me in the mirror, like maybe that's all the confirmation I need, and maybe that's the only answer I need. And I became my own protection at a young age. I've always been able to protect myself at a young age. And now that I'm about to be 30, I think it's just time for me to release all of this and just let it go, because it's really not important anymore. You know, it's the past, and we gotta stop looking in the past and start looking in the present. And I just want this episode to be for all the kids that grew up with fathers who were physically not present, emotionally that weren't present, for all the kids that had to grow up fast, for all the kids that never got to wish their father a happy Father's Day, for all the kids that had to be their own protection, for the kids that love deeply but guard their hearts because they started to feel pain maybe a little earlier than everybody else. You're not broken. You're just a child that had to learn how to survive. And now you're allowed to learn how to feel. And I hope this episode resonates with you guys. To all the fatherless children, we gonna be alright.